What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I told you today we're going to be doing some car stuff, and it's windy as hell. I apologize about that, but told you we're going to be doing some car stuff with some data and things like that. So that's the reason we are marking off 660 feet on this nice quiet road for no reason in particular. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get to whatever I plan on doing today with this car. I'm going to spin around here. Tells me that the converter is really tight because on the shift we dropped 2,000. More power is the correct option in this case. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome. Yes, I did just walk out, measure out 660 feet for a completely unrelated thing that we are going to figure out in this video. With that being said, we got a lot going on today. I got a lot going on today. This video, we really only got one thing going on, and that is going over data, looking at the setup on the Fairmont, seeing what we need to do to improve it, make it more gooder, or can we leave it alone? These are the questions that we are going to answer in this video. But first, there's a few things I need to do. One being my shop space is once again a disaster from doing all of the bumpers, hood, and airbag and all that other stuff. The second thing is, yes, I do have fans running on that, trying to cool it down because I did drive it over here from my humble abode. So I want to do a good nut and bolt check on it, but I'm also not going to do it after it was driving down the road because, well, that's kind of hot and I don't want to deal with it. So we got the fans running on it. A few things I need to do real quick because I need to take the trash out. This whole situation needs to be fixed. So let me put you back down here. I am going to take care of that first, the garbage and the cleaning of this stuff, and then we will do a nut and bolt check. Going to figure out why there's oil on the ground, and then we're going to go over the MSD box, what I have in the MSD box, how the car's been acting, and I did buy something that's going to help us with our 660-foot conversation that we're going to have here in a little bit. I bought a draggy. So first time ever having one of those, first time ever dealing with one of those. And we're going to use that when we go to the street, undisclosed street, closed street. I don't know if I have to say all this nonsense. I just don't feel like getting in trouble. But we're going to use that and see what time we get on a really pretty much crappy road. No burnout, no nothing, just letting off the brake because this thing makes so little power that doesn't spin, doesn't do anything really spectacular, just kind of hooks and goes. So don't need to do burnout or anything like that. So that's pretty handy, especially just being by myself. And yeah, we'll get our time. We will look at the data log on that pass and see if see kind of what we're going. I already have some few ideas, and we'll go over those shortly. But first, I'm going to take care of all this stuff, and then we'll hop into the actual video of this part. I just want to say hi, how you guys doing? Welcome to the video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And I will pick up with you guys when all this is done and we're actually going to do a nut and bolt on the car and go over everything else. Whoa, I don't have my hat on. All right, well, we got the shop cleaned up enough so I'm happy with it. And I kind of started my nut and bolt check, kind of, sort of, not really. What I did is I'm like, you know what? I know my solenoids are loose. I know they're just hanging on for dear life, just flapping in the breeze. And I was curious, maybe I did get sent hardware with them, and you know, I just haven't looked into it. Well, it's true, I did. I did get sent hardware for them. I got sent these little screws so that way I can mount the solenoids to the bracket I have. And in true fashion of myself, there's 4 of them. I'm only putting 2 in so that way I have spares for when they inevitably just fall out from driving around on the street, vibration, things like that. So when they fall out, I have 2 more. And then I'm also leaving those out so that way I can take them to Lowe's or Harbor Freight or Tractor Supply, and I can try to match them up so that way I can get some longer ones, because these things are tiny. I don't know if you can see it perfectly good, but they're tiny, and I think I'd like a little bit longer ones, and maybe not a screw head, but more like a bolt, so that way they're easier to tighten, and them being a little bit longer just makes me feel better, so that way there's more thread engagement, because I can't imagine there's a lot of thread engagement here. So I'm leaving a few out because, well, one is better than none, and that way I got some spares and I can take them to, you know, I can take them so that way I can at least have the ability to grab some at Lowe's. That's my thought process on it. Whether it's right or wrong, undecided. And with them being so short, they're actually a pain to put on when the bracket's already on. This is definitely something that I should have looked into and or figured out while the bracket, the carburetor, all that shit was already off the car. I don't have to sit here with a tiny screwdriver and hope that I get it tight enough. All right, going back together. Screw is getting tightened down. Beautiful. Well, the nut and bolt check came back wonderful. Everything still appears to be tight, which is good. I got 3 things though. Motor leaks, transmission leaks, and rear end leaks. Now the good news is it's nothing I touched, so that's a positive. On the front end of this thing, on the front end of the oil pan, there is a old turbo drain on it, because this used to be a turbo motor. This used to be a stock bottom end turbo deal. So there's actually a bung welded to the front of the pan, and the plug is the thing that leaks. But I've tried to tighten the bejesus out of it, and it's not getting any tighter. So that is something I will address when I change out the oil. Also, the rear main seal, that leaks. That I'm not touching. I don't really care about that. As long as it doesn't get any worse, it's cool. Transmission leaks out of the pan or trans brake or just everything. But it doesn't leak out of my tranny lines. So you know what? We'll take that win, and I'm once again probably not even going to worry about it unless it gets worse. The rear end, that's leaking out of the pinion. Not much I'm going to do about that at the moment, because once again, maybe I'll look into it after I drain the fluid and change the fluid, because I would like to drain all the fluid out of this thing and refill it probably in the next couple weeks before we actually go to the track and see what it really does on the track. So at the moment right now, though, I'm going to spin around here. All right. I am going to spin around here and adjust my front coils, because I don't know exactly where they are at. I think they're full tight, which isn't exactly what I want. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think they're full tight. So we're going to loosen these all the way up and do 1, 2, do 3 clicks. They're single adjustable, so I really don't have any like rhyme or reason on these things as to where they're at or anything like that. But we're gonna go do the same thing on the back. We are going to, I know the back is full tight because I've been trying to get the tire to not rub. The airbag fixed that. So, but again, in the video I'm gonna show you here in a second, you're gonna see where it hooks and immediately starts driving to the left. And to me, that's saying that there's way too much air in that airbag and it's not actually allowing the suspension to transfer down on that side. So we're going to let some air out of the airbag and loosen up the rear shocks a little bit, and then plug the laptop in, and we're gonna talk about what's in the laptop. So we're going to take a quick peek into the MSD box here. You can see my rev limit is at 7,000, my trans brake, my two steps at 2,500. I lowered it from 3,000, and I'll show you why in this video here. For the data side of things, I have it to start recording above 2,000 RPM. And to stop recording below 1900 or after 60 seconds. Nothing in the launch retard, nothing in the step retard, nothing like that. Literally just dealing with two-step timing and the data side of things. So I've made my changes. I'm just gonna go through them again one more time. Yeah. We are now going to send a product, which means all of this should be in there. So you saw the video of this thing getting on the two-step and making that quick little hit. That RPM, when it's on the brake and it kind of goes up, down, and then it swings all the way up to 3,000. I'm not doing that. That is me foot to the throttle, or foot to the, throttle to the floor. And pretty much I've checked air-fuel ratios, I've checked timing, I've played with timing, everything like that. I've played with where the rev limit is or where the two-step is, and really the only thing that makes sense to me is that the converter's too tight. With the converter being too tight, and I'll be able to show you after we make this pass real quick, I'll be able to pull up the data log of it. And you'll really be able to see in that RPM curve how the converter is probably a little too tight, but we run into it cruises really good with this converter, and that's kind of what this thing's meant to do. So I don't know if it's worth me pulling it out and changing it, especially when at the end of the video I'm going to show you I do actually have a solution for this tight converter. But that's it. This thing is pretty much ready. We're going to go try to make that pass. And I got the draggy right there, zip tied into place properly. So we are actually going to go make this pass real quick and come back, look at the data, and then I'm going to show you guys the solution I have for this little converter problem I'm having. I don't even want to call it a problem, just it's a thing that exists and it's converter related. So real quick, let's get in the car and go make this pass. Enough lollygagging around, let's go do that. All right, we are back from our 8th mile test little there thing, and it went 795 at 91 miles an hour. We are flying. But honestly, for 325 cubic inches, a converter that's way too tight, and I can show you right here with the data entirely why it's too tight. I'm not that mad about it. You know, I wanted a 7 something, and you know what? We squeaked into 795, and it kind of is what it is. Because I have solutions for this, and of course, that's all motor, and I do intend to spray this thing. So 795, that puts us at we'll call it a high 11, low 12 area, I think. It maybe even put us like mid 12s. So not like super thrilled, but I do believe this is actually faster than the S10 I used to race. Definitely not faster than the Buick I used to race. That went 9s. But for a little punk motor that I have like less than like 900 bucks into, really not that upset about it. So let's look over the data real quick. So this is our, where's my mouse? There it is. This is obviously our trans brake right here. It went up on the brake really, really nicely, honestly. I was pleasantly surprised at 2,500. Our first shift was our red, which is going to be 6,600. I have it set for 65, so, you know, right on par. But here's the part right here, this drop off, this check mark. Checks are bad. This check mark right here tells me that the converter is really tight because on the shift, we dropped 2,000 RPM, like 1,900, but we'll call it 2,000. 2,000 RPM on the shift is a lot and not good. Let's see, how much did we drop on the next shift? 1,500 on the next shift. So as I guess we are, you know, further down the road, you know, a little bit better there. Still, 2,000 is a lot for a shift. RPM change, not really good there. But I do have a solution. And now that we've kind of gone over the data, I do want to show you guys the solution here for this situation we got going on. All right? All right. Sorry, I'm playing with the data. I like looking at it and just like it's just RPM, but you can tell a lot from just RPM, honestly. With that being said, I'm gonna show you guys the solution to all of this that I have right now. Well, I know that some of you are like, Casey, the only way to fix a loose converter or a tight converter is to get a new converter. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but there's another option. More power. More power is the correct option in this case. Boom. Right there. That is how we are going to fix this converter issue. Along with the converter being tight, there's also another issue as well that we aren't thinking of that I've already thought of is camshaft stuff. Camshaft horsepower, what the camshaft likes horsepower-wise, like what it likes load-wise. This is a TIC Performance nitrous camshaft. It is built for not really a lot of street driving. It's mainly built for spray. So more power and giving the camshaft what it wants, I honestly think is going to help our slow time of 795, and 2, our RPM drops and everything in the middle. I actually think that the nitrous is going to help fix a lot of those problems. Now, we are not really ready for nitrous. I have a empty nitrous bottle. I am currently running on 93 that's in the tank, and I don't even know what kind of spark plugs I have in this thing. They came with it. So I need to get colder plugs just in general. I need to find some 110 somewhere, probably like 10 gallons of it. So I have a little bit left over, and I need to fill the bottle. And that's really all we're missing. So once I get those three things, we are probably going to take it to the track and make a couple motor passes, figure out what it actually runs, figure out how accurate the draggy is. Also, I picked the hottest day of the year so far. It is like 95, super humid. It's terrible out. So maybe we'll pick a day with some better weather, a full nitrous bottle, better fuel, and the appropriate spark plugs, and we'll see what we actually get. I wouldn't mind shaving like a second or more off of the 8th mile time. That would be pretty ideal for me. I'd like to see like a 650, honestly. Is it possible? Well, with enough of that stuff, yes, it is possible. Will we have to push it up on the trailer? That's something we'll have to figure out next time. With that being said, I'm closing this out. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. As always, I appreciate you guys. And I got some more street driving to do, so I'm out of here.